welcome to Today in the News on Vanguard Live. I am Precious Chukudi. We begin with the front pages of the papers this morning. Starting off with Vanguard, Vanguard is leading with Super Eagles Libyan Horror Show. Highest authority ordered diversion of flights, and that's coming from the pilot. Says such unexpected diversion can compromise safety. National Assembly blasts seeks Libyan's government apology. Senate calls for probe, seeks stiffer penalties for Libya. Rep asks federal government to summon Libyan ambassador to Nigeria. I'm still in shock, and that's coming from Egwavon. CAF officially puts the Nigeria-Libya match on hold. On page 4, flood, Rep seeks review of Lagdo Dam agreement between Nigeria and Cameroon. FOI, Umahi engages 6 sons to defend 15 trillion naira Lagos Calabar highway budget suits. National grid collapses second time in 24 hours. On page 30, sports, Nigeria, Libya, Buraha, NFF files protest to CAF. Stories above, inflation rate rises to 32.7%. Nigeria's foreign reserves rose to $39 billion in October. That's coming from Cardoso, says the inflation remains a concern. State of the nation, how Nigerians can take back their country, and that's coming from UTOMI. Lastly, on the front page of Vanguard, the PDP crisis, why governors nullified the suspension, ordered a return to status quo. Alright, we'll take a look at the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian is leading with a World Food Day, inflation worry, Nigerians begging, borrowing for survival. We can see an infographic on that report which says by the conservative estimate of the national average cost of a healthy diet of 1,255 naira per meal as of August figures, a family of 4 would require 150,000 naira a month to have a meal a day. Nigeria others may need 100 years to end extreme poverty, says World Bank. Court sentences a teenager to 5 years imprisonment for sexual assault. Power Minister denies multiple grid collapses, blames minor trip-offs. Your policies punishing Nigerians. Professional bodies tell Tinubu. Abbas plays a 10,000 naira monthly upkeep for pensioners. Lagos Red Line Rail begins operation to move 500,000 passengers daily. We'll take a look at the Nation newspaper. The Nation is leading with economy in upward swing, very promising, says Cardoso. Rider says service sector is key driver. Oil sector growth doubled. Foreign reserves can take 1 year import. Stories above, Soludo councils can't be autonomous. It was narrow escape in Libya. Pilots who flew Eagles review. Rivers Assembly declares seat of Ehie Oku Jumbo vacant. Senator Kau accuses colleagues of drug use. And how economy is making progress under Tinubu by rain or mockery. We take a look at the Punch newspaper. The Punch is leading with marketers plan petrol imports to bridge shortfall. Rider says that Dangote not producing enough to meet domestic demand currently. Dealers claim Ipman loads the NNPCL PMS. High petrol price pushes inflation to 32.7%, and that's come from a report. On your dam, anxiety grips Ogun community over fresh flooding. Naira among worst performing currencies, and that's coming from World Bank. Stories above, PDP crisis, Damagom gets reprieve, leads Ondo campaign. Government hires senior advocates for Lagos Calabar highway suits. Federal government plans cash transfer for 20 million poor Nigerians. Fresh crisis hits Rivers as pro-Fubara Wike lawmaker clash. And that's how we can take on the front pages of the papers. Join us after the break. Alright, welcome back. If you're just joining me, still today in the news on Vanguard Live, I am Precious Chukudi. And joining me to talk about some of the stories is Mr. Green Rolajigbe, Executive Director of Emergency and Risk Alert. It's good to have you join me this morning, sir.
It's a pleasure being with you.
All right, let's talk about the Super Eagles deal in the hands of the Libyan government. According to the pilots who flew the Super Eagles, he said that he was ordered by the Libyan government to divert the flight to our Abrak airport, located 150 miles away from destination point. What's your take?
Well, we should contextualize things, particularly before we ask our people to go to a particular state on official duty, and in this way, to go and play football. If you look at the context of Libya as it is now, you have a lot of ungoverned spaces in Libya, and responsibly too, it can be safe that there is no generally accepted government in Libya. So it depends on whose side you are in Libya. It's a bifurcated society. Libya has never known peace after the late Muammar Gaddafi was ousted. So it has been a case of going to a particular state of anomaly, a state of extreme lawlessness. As a matter of fact, I was part of those who were set up by the Global Complex Emergency to work on Libya in 2012. At that time, we met with the transition government of Libya. But since that time of the crisis, there is no a United States called Libya after the exit of Gaddafi. Having said that, if we have taken time to do this safety and security analysis, maybe we will have opted for a neutral ground to play the match. But then, it's inhuman, cruel, and unexpected of the so-called higher authority to have treated human beings, not even Nigeria, like this, to have treated Nigerians. In fact, let us even escalate it to the level of humanity, to have treated people cruelly like this. So it's unacceptable, and the decision of Nigeria not to play the match is the most sensible thing to do, because they were not safe, they were not protected, they were not defended, and there is no evidence that they will be secure, even during or after the match. If they could do this before the match, imagine a situation where Nigeria defeats them. You can only imagine what will happen to the players and the officials. So Nigeria, for once, have taken a very good decision, having studied the situation, experienced it, and decided to boycott the match. That is the most sensible thing to do. Life is primus. In fact, the primacy of life is what is necessary when you are taking decisions within the context of danger or emergencies. So I kudos to the player and the officials that took this decision. We need them for other matches. Even if the ruling of CAF is against them this time around, at least they are alive and they are in their country enjoying freedom and comfort.
Now, the Senate has called for stiff penalties for the Libyan authorities and also asked the federal government to summon the country's ambassador. What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't care what the National Assembly is doing, but the fact is that they have been a very clog at emancipation of Nigeria as a respectable country among the Committee of Nations by the way they have handled the affairs of this country. And of course, come home. Do they treat Nigeria better than the Libya have treated them? Is the current regime, that is the president and the National Assembly, treating Nigeria better than the Libya treated Nigerian players? So they should just not hide under anything. I don't believe in whatever they do until they are able to make sacrifice for Nigeria. Calling ambassador of Libya to come and face them means nothing to me. And as a matter of fact, their resolution means nothing to Nigerian people. Have you heard them talking of hardship Nigerians are facing at home? The almost condition of human difficulties, human challenges, and existential economic problems Nigeria are confronting. Have they discussed that? What is their remedy? Aside from Senator Udume, that has been the lone voice in the wilderness. What are other senators? What are they been saying? To bear with hunger with somebody that is keep on wasting Nigeria resources, frittering it away in far away Europe under the guise of spending leaves. When a presidential leave could be spent in places like Obudukatu Ranch in Cross River State, and Yankari Game Reserve in Bauchi State, and other places that the president should have led the campaign and advocacy for tourism in Nigeria using his own leaf to do that. So all these people, they don't love Nigeria. They are doing this as showmanship and not because they love the boy, because they have put Nigeria in a worse danger than the Libyan authority put our players. So they are not talking about that. I think we should just they should just excuse Nigerian and continue their extravagant life in spite of the crisis, economic crisis that is ravaging Nigerians and marooning them to extreme poverty and in some cases belittled them.
All right, let's move ahead and talk about Nigeria's power grid collapsing for the seventh time this year, and also second time in 24 hours, throwing the entire nation into darkness. According to them, they're saying that investigations are still ongoing on what might have been the cause. How do you react?
What is not collapsing in Nigeria? It's not about power alone. Economy has collapsed. Protection has collapsed. Security has collapsed. In the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I know that I share a lot of wanted person every day now. People that are missing people that they are looking for. And government is not doing anything about that. Look at the tragic occurrences in Katsina, where a lot of people are killed by terrorists and other things. And we have taken it to be normal. So what is not collapsing? It's not only grid, national grid alone that is collapsing. Every education is collapsing because now you can see a situation where a university cry out that is paying every month 300 million naira as electricity tariff. And this is a university that is expected to train engineers, to train doctors, that we need, where students are expected to be comfortable in laboratories. Things that could contribute to technological development of Nigeria, including computer sciences and others. They don't have light. So what is not collapsing in Nigeria? I'm not surprised, because the civil service now, the civil servant cannot even exist. If you look at it, a bag of rice now is at the region of 100,000, more than the so-called minimum wage. So Nigerians there's no minimum wage, because the intrinsic value of 30,000 they were earning is even better than this 70,000 now. So there's no increment intrinsically. So what is not collapsing? Standard of life has collapsed. The only thing that is rising is the cost of living and inability of Nigeria to obtain basic necessities and, of course, to cater for their families. So what has not collapsed in that type of situation? Even the workers will not be committed to work because they can excuse it away. More people will be stealing from the purse of the federal government just to survive if they have the opportunity now. So how is this useless economic policy contributing to development and enhancing the value attached to critical infrastructure like electricity, like a national grid line, like other infrastructure, national critical assets of Nigeria? So everything is collapsing. The only people standing in Nigeria are those who can afford to take Nigerian presidential jet and stay in London with it. Don't leave. Nobody, no country, they don't do it elsewhere. That you will tie down our plane because you are on leave. You are expected to use your money, fund your leave. If you insist on going outside the country. It can't happen in America. It can't happen in a very decent and sane society.
All right, let's touch on this now. UTOMI, in an interview with Vanguard, said, and I'm going to read what he said in the interview. He said that the people must take their country back and save themselves. That is the truth of the matter. We don't have a political class. They don't know what they're doing. They are too greedy and self-centered to be able to make the country progress. So the people must take back their country. How do you react to this?
Well, it's correct. What build a country is active agency of citizens. If citizens, of course, like get people Quran, it is the common fate of the indolence to have their right being preyed on it by the powerful. The condition upon which God has given liberty to man is external vigilance. So if Nigeria cannot take their country back, of course, that means they're enjoying their slave, the chain in their hand. The slave status is being enjoyed because this is not a country that Nigerians expect under democratic practice. So Nigerians should take their country back. Nobody hold Nigeria more than others, whether you are the president or the tailor. Most even, what do you call this? Is it truck they call them? Those pushing, those alabaru in the market. Most of them are more patriotic than those we call senators, than those we call president, than those we call governors. Ordinary citizens of Nigeria, they are more patriotic. And the government should be about them, not people looting their country, and of course, putting the stamp of legitimacy in the looting, like it's going on in the National Assembly, through the so-called payment of constituency allowances, constituency project and everything. That is an example of what happened in a criminal enterprise that they have built. So Nigerians have the right to take back their country from those who are bent on destroying them, impoverishing Nigerians, and bringing them to their kneel, so that they can continually govern without any challenge. If Nigeria is not an accountability-free zone, how will a president go and keep Nigerian jets? Because it's on leave. You heard what Michelle Obama was saying the other day. He said even when the president was on leave, they used to have visitors. It will caution our husband that do we have money to pay for the feeding of these people we want to host? That is the president of America. With all the per capita income, with everything, they are conscious. It's only all these imperial practices of wickedness only happen in a place like Nigeria. We as citizens are not active. We as citizens look away where they continue to loot their common patrimony. Of course, the suppression, the economic problem and challenges is general now. Everyone is feeling it. But should we continue? Many people have died because they can't even access health care, or the challenge of the poverty has imposed on them. Even most of their sicknesses are from bad feeding, poor nutrition. Many students cannot return to school today because their parents cannot pay. Even transport to school from their houses. Most parents are lamenting they can't do that. How do you envisage development in such country? If children are out of school today, you are adding to it. If 133 million Nigerians were handed over to you as multidimensionally poor, you have worsened the situation today. Because even the World Bank that has been giving loan to Tinubu is so embarrassed now that he's telling us that Nigeria will need more than 100 years to eliminate extreme poverty. Who will be alive at that time? And somebody is asking one to have patience now. Patience for how long? Somebody that is riding Airbus, eating and living luxury and extravagant life on the neck of the people is asking the poor who cannot find a meal, who cannot buy a piece of bread or even biscuit to be patient. Anyway, most of them who are patients have become patients in the hospital because they have been malnourished, they have been victim of weak immunity, and their bodies and even spirit have surrendered to sicknesses and disease that they have no money to treat today because of wrong economic choices, because of wrong political choices, because of people who are bent on prioritizing prioritizing money above the welfare and security of the people of Nigeria.
All right, let's touch on inflation, Nigeria's inflation rate, and of course, it has risen to 32.7% in September, reversing a 2 month consecutive decline to 32.15% in August. And of course, this is driven by a further increase in food prices and transportation costs caused by recent fuel price hike and weaker naira. I would like you to speak on this issue and what is the way forward for Nigerians.
Well, the way forward for Nigeria is to have people that love their country and not this one that want to kill Nigerians for Nigeria to survive, for them to continue to govern. Because if this policy continue in this next 6 months, you will be picking dead bodies on the street of Nigeria. And that is the reality of the challenges that we are not facing now. And it's better for them to begin to prioritize Nigeria. And it's telling you that you can't subsidize. What are you subsidizing? What is Nigerian people? What do we benefit from Nigeria? In actual fact, you are not subsidizing education. You are outsourcing everything. What is the essence of having president? A country is not like a company that you want to make laws or this thing. The best thing is that if you prioritize your people and they are able to, you are eliminating poverty and you are creating jobs, people will be able to work and pay taxes. But people are getting poorer and you are increasing taxes. Does that make sense? Who does that? That is a cruel economy manager. And the way out is for you now to look at the welfare of Nigeria, because this thing, you are pushing people to the wall. And look, do you know how many the billions that people have paid on ransom because of your own insensitivity to the people's security demand, to their welfare, to their protection? So you have a state that have abandoned its responsibility unless you return to this and begin to appreciate the whole lessons of democracy. You will not know where we are going. I have a book, I was talking about it yesterday, Why Democracies Die. Why Democracy Died. It's a book. In fact, it's on my bed as I'm talking now. I've read it several times. We are not a country that is serious. Leadership is the major problem of Nigeria. And we don't have one that work with the interests of the people. Not even this one. How can you explain the situation as bad as Buhari government was? To be thinking that people are now saying that they will prefer Buhari's government to this. That is heresy. Why should you drive these people to this end? And you are the one that fostered Buhari on people. And now you are talking of your wife is saying that it's not you that destroyed that. What are you doing now? No achievement, all noise and nothing. Of course, Perry.
Touch on Mr. and Mrs. Mrs. is speaking. She says it's nothing special if you give your whole salary to her at the end of each month. You are only doing your duty. She's your mother-in-law and your wife's dear mother. And Mr. responds and says, don't I have a mother too? Or do you think I am AI generated?
We should not be selfish at this particular time. We should draw our priority, table of preference, what economists call table of preference. Take care of your family, take care of your immediate family, and then you can extend the generosity to your extended family and to others. There's nothing bad in giving, but you must give right. You can't give to the extent that you have your own family and at the expense, immediate family this way, at the expense of extended family. So we should not be selfish in our demand and expectation. Let us work together and create happiness in the tension, in the midst of tension, economic tension that we have. Selfishness can only lead to destruction, even destruction of Mr. and Mrs. marriage. So they should borrow sense and use sense, and the wife should be considerate. That mother-in-law is not a court where husband will be sentenced to prison if he cannot meet the demand. Let us look at if it is 50 or 30 or 20 or 5% of demand of others you can meet after your family members. Go ahead and do that, but don't suffocate yourself. husband will marry, if he suffocate, the wife suffocate herself and die, remarry, the wife will do the same thing. So let us borrow sense and be moderate in our expectation and in our performance. Let us not outdo ourselves. Mrs. should calm down, see reason with the T-pain that has become burdensome to entire Nigeria and the country called Nigeria today.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Green Rolajigbe, Executive Director of Emergency and Risk Alert. Thank you for sharing your thought with us this morning.
It's a pleasure being with you. Thank you very much.
Also, remember that you can equally like, share, and subscribe on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. To find up-to-date stories, go to our website, www.vanguardngr.com, to find out more. I am Precious Chukudi, and thank you for watching.